Okay, the next part here we'll be talking about the types of forces. Now, under forces, you actually have two different classification: contact force and non-contact force. Okay, contact means obviously the surface are touching each other. Non-contact means the two mediums or the two objects need not be touching each other for them to be experiencing this kind of a force. So we've got three types. We got two different types of force. Under each of it, we will learn some of it. So for contact force, we will be learning frictional force, only one type. Under non-contact force, we'll be looking at gravitational force and magnetic force. So these are the three different forces that we're covering in this chapter. So we'll be looking at friction first. Now, for friction, okay, it occurs between two surfaces in contact. Take note, the surfaces must be in contact for friction to occur. As long as you can minimize contact, okay, if you can minimize contact between surfaces, you actually will help to reduce friction. Okay, actually reduces friction. Now, obviously, if there's no contact, definitely there's no friction. So minimize contact reduces friction. Okay, but let's look at here. So because we need two surfaces, so this green and blue block, as they rub against each other, there's actually friction in opposite direction. Okay, now same thing here. You got a blue block here. As the green block moves forward, it experiences a friction force that is going backwards. Take note, frictional force opposes movement. Okay, so if a block is moving towards the right, friction will act towards the left. Okay, it always opposes motion. Okay, opposes, sorry, written already. Now, so what's the effects of friction? First, it slows down and stops moving object. So when your object stops moving or it slows down, it's because of friction. That's one of the main thing here. The other one is that friction actually produces heat. That is why when you rub your hands, okay, when you rub your hands against each other, rubbing hands against each other, okay, when you rub your hands against each other, you actually feel some sort of a heat, because what you're doing is you're causing friction to occur between your two hands, and that's how heat is produced. Now, the next thing we'll think about is what's the advantages and disadvantages of friction. We know its effect, okay, it has these two effects, but is everything a disadvantage or is everything an advantage? Let's take a look at it carefully. Okay, now, so the effects of friction is it slows down or stops moving object. It also produces heat. Now, some positive effects are as such. Friction actually helps us to walk or run. Without friction, it will be difficult to move, to turn things, to hold things. Okay, these are the few basic movements that we always do that requires friction. Now, some of the higher level stuff, okay, example parachuting, without friction, a guy will actually fall straight down. You are thinking, where's the friction? For parachuting, it's about friction with the air. Okay, friction with air. That's what parachuting does. When you open the parachute, the friction with the air causes the parachuter to slow down. Next one, brushing. Okay, what actually helps us remove some of the stains, some of the germs on our teeth is actually through friction. You're actually rubbing it off using your toothbrush. So friction actually occurs for brushing too. Now, how about negative effects? Okay, it makes movement more difficult. It reduces speed. So what happens is that sometimes you want to go faster, but we cannot because there's too much friction experienced. Example, pushing a box across a surface. Okay, because of the amount of friction of the box and the ground, sometimes it's just going very slowly. So just take note of it. Next one, it produces unwanted heat. Okay, example is like your car engine and stuff like this, your tires, or sometimes when you go running, you feel that your feet is getting a little bit hot because as you run or as the car moves on, the internal parts, all of this has friction, and this friction actually produces heat, and these are your unwanted heat because energy is wasted. Okay, energy is wasted, or we can say energy is lost. Okay, unwanted loss of energy. And this is not what we want. And last one, we talk about wear and tear. This is more of aesthetics or more of a practical reasons. For example, the soles of your shoes, you realize they wear off after a while. Same as the brakes, okay? That's why car needs to change brakes sometimes, bicycles too, because the brakes will wear off. So take note, wear and tear is another key effect of friction. So these are the negative effects and these are the positive effects. Okay, now, so obviously for the negative effects, we want to reduce it. We want to reduce friction for the negative effects. So how do we do so? Okay, the ways to reduce effects will be for the next part. So this is the end for this part over here.